Okay, so for my screencast, I'm going to be looking at SureDog.com. This site is widely recognized as the best website for mixed martial arts, aka cage fighting news. The majority of the content displayed on the site is created by SureDog staff. The majority of this is featured articles and rankings that are written by writers who are full-time employees of SureDog. An example of this can be seen on any of these images right here or these latest MMA news headlines. This article right here was written by Mike Whitman, and here's a little profile of Mike, and it says that he started writing for SureDog staff in September of 2010. So he is a paid SureDog employee, just like most of the people that write the majority of the articles that you see on the main page back here. While there are mostly articles written by paid employees and writers, there is some user-generated content, which we see in the form of forum threads over here on the side. Uh, so clicking on one of these, we can see that uh, these forum threads are posted by people that aren't necessarily SureDog employees. SureDog people can post, but the majority of the threads that we see here are posted by just regular fans who have created a profile on SureDog. Ace Balasador here, we can see his profile. He's not a paid employee of SureDog. And while these fans can post in the threads, fans also have the opportunity to work their way up to become a moderator of the post. A moderator can decide what's ultimately seen on threads, but moderators are also at the mercy of administrators, and administrators are employees of SureDog. So ultimately, SureDog staff does have the last say in what is seen on these threads, but at the same time, anyone can post as long as they have an account. So looking at all these factors, we can see that there is a slight mix of publish then filter and then filter then publish content. The majority is articles that are written and then filtered before publishing, like most traditional media, but there is a chance for users to post their own content, and then there's not really a chance for them to edit each other unless they are a moderator or an administrator. So now let's go back to the home page and see who owns this website. At the bottom, we see here that it says SureDog is the property of Crave Online Media, which is a smaller company underneath Evolve Media. Alright, so let's look at what Crave Online Media says about itself. If we click on this page and go over to the what is Crave Online, we see that they describe themselves as the destination for all things men crave. What does this mean? It means we bring you inside the biggest events, queue you up on the latest hot trends, and keep you on top of all the biggest blockbuster releases. So that's what Crave describes himself as. But if we go back to Evolve Media and look at what they say about themselves as the larger parent company, it's interesting. We'll see that they say that our mission is to be a publisher and leading enthusiast for destinations for men and women. We see that Crave is for men, and then Totally Her is the woman's brand. And so, like it says here, they do reach over 90 million people globally each month. So we can see that SureDog is somewhat of a smaller site, but it's owned by a pretty decent sized company. So while Evolve Media and Crave Online are pretty open about their ownership of SureDog, it's still interesting to look up SureDog under a Hoover search, and the results we get, we see a bunch of articles that say right away that SureDog is owned by Crave Online. So again, there's not a ton of surprises there, except we don't really see Evolve Media mentioned on any of these. Going to a Whois lookup, when SureDog is typed in, we do see again that the registrant for the website is Crave Online Media. So again, there's not a lot of hidden ownership. It's all pretty much laid out there for SureDog at least. So again, SureDog is very upfront about its ownership, but however, because the site is owned by a larger corporation in Evolve Media, this could lead to some bias through filtered publishing. The main problem is that the UFC has a monopoly on the MMA market, So if the UFC has any ties with Evolve Media and there is a scandal in the UFC, SureDog may not be allowed to report it because Evolve or Crave will not want them to harm one of their business partners in the UFC. So that is one problem that could stem from this kind of ownership, but overall, there aren't too many surprises seen. Going to the SureDog Wikipedia page, it'll be interesting to see the kind of content that's published and to see if it's biased at all. Right from the start, it's not too big a page. You can look at the references. The references here don't seem too biased. There are mentions of the SureDog website itself, but a lot of the articles here are laid out from different sources. We see FoxSports.com, we see Forbes.com, the Washington Post, so even Fight Magazine. SureDog and Evolve Media and Crave don't own any of these, so there aren't too many biases seen there. Looking at the history, we can see that a lot of people that have made the edits and cuts, they appear to be at least normal users, not working for SureDog or Crave or Evolve. Nothing that I could see, at least. Here's another one. Slowly switching MMA competitor. So things seem to check out there, at least. Now, if we go to the talk page, again, I thought this was interesting. It says the article created. I created this page because it is referenced in pretty much every mixed martial arts article, so I felt it deserved its own page. And this was by Alex Klotz, and it says he occasionally edits on Wikipedia, and he himself says that I am in no way affiliated with the website itself. So, again, looking at the Wikipedia page, it seems that there aren't too many biases or conflicts of interest as far as its existence goes. It's not really an advertisement for SureDog like other sites' pages could be. Okay, so to look at the advertising on SureDog, I had to open it in Mozilla Firefox because Chrome was blocking all the ads because of the privacy fix settings I had. But looking at the ads in particular, as someone that goes on SureDog all the time, I can say that the ads are very annoying and intrusive. A lot of them are hover ads where if you roll over them, they'll pop up and stop your browsing right in its tracks. I do feel that that takes a lot away from the site and it can be quite annoying to visitors. I feel that a lot of the ads may be targeted to me, but before I looked into the privacy settings, I couldn't say for sure because a lot of my searches are MMA oriented anyways. But as we found out, these ads will be geared towards you individually. Usually there's a featured ad, and that's the one ad that's just all over the main page, the one that you just saw that pops up, and that ad changes periodically every couple days. So looking at the advertisements in particular, and then after I looked at the privacy policy on SureDog, I found that they do leave cookies on your hard drive, and they do share your personal and your non-personal information with marketing companies. And so I could see a problem with this arising in like a hypothetical situation where, say, there is an article about a UFC fighter being hospitalized because they had a staph infection. Many visitors to SureDog are often mixed martial arts competitors themselves, and so they too are susceptible to staph. And I could see SureDog working with marketers to target specific ads next to articles. And so if there was an article about a UFC fighter being hospitalized because he had a very deadly staph infection, it could be fitting if they put an ad for antibacterial body wash for wrestlers or jiu-jitsu grapplers next to that article. That could be one way that SureDog editors work with marketers and advertisers. While there is a chance for users to sign up and share their personal information, they don't have to reveal a geographic location or any other personal information like that. As Steve Rambam would mention, ultimately companies aren't trying to steal their identity, they are just trying to sell them stuff. And so while there's not really a huge risk for someone's identity being stolen by subscribing to a membership on SureDog, there is a chance for ads to be targeted towards them, and for their information to be shared with third-party sources. And so we'll look at that a little bit more down at the privacy policy. And so for the privacy policy, after I read through that, I found a couple things. I found that they often collect information every time you visit the website. This is information that would be seen on any website that you would visit. They do leave persistent cookies that don't go away unless you clear them. So they have current cookies when you're on the website, and then persistent ones that remain after you leave. And then they also explain that they share non-personally identifiable information to third parties to help them figure out usage patterns for certain company services. Third parties can send ads directly to your browser and use cookies to measure its effectiveness on the SureDog website. They also may share personally identifiable information with third parties to provide services to you. They say provide service to you, but I think that may be a cover for the fact that they're sharing information that they really shouldn't be sharing. So overall, I would say that the privacy policy doesn't do a great job at explaining what exactly is happening and how much that information ShareDog is sharing. They are a little ambiguous in some places, and I think they could be more clear and concise when explaining how exactly they are using your information in some places. So, keeping with the privacy theme, if we go back to the ShareDog website and looking at the collusion chart from ShareDog, you can see that there are a lot of sites, well, at least 5 in this case, 5 sites that are tracking me because I went to ShareDog. This number was a lot higher yesterday when I was playing with this. It was at 22 different websites that were able to track me because I went to ShareDog. And that is a pretty high number compared to other sites. And so now if we also look back at the homepage and check out the privacy fix, we can see that ShareDog still hasn't been rated yet, but there are some ad blockers on the Google Chrome page. As we can see, this is the difference between this page and the Mozilla Firefox page. You can see the ads are still blocked. And so if we also stay with ShareDog and go to the Chrome page, searching within ShareDog, if I search for a fighter named Frank Mir, for example, we don't really see anything in the address bar that gives an indication that the site is tracking me as far as my browser goes. I'll do another search as well. Again, I'm really not seeing anything that's indicating that it's following what kind of browser I'm using or anything like that, so that privacy does kind of check out. But because they do share my information with so many sites, and so many sites are able to track me because I visit ShareDog, I would say that the site doesn't really do a lot for user privacy. And even though looking at sharing personal information as far as signing up for the forums, if you see, this is how you would sign up for the forums. You're not really required to post anything too revealing. Here it's just a birthday. No geographic location, which, as Steve Rambam mentioned, could cause problems. Thieves can learn your location and your routine, and then they can plan to steal from you. But ultimately, you just need a birthday, and you're pretty much signed up. So that does check out pretty well. But overall, again, because they do share your information with so many different sites, and because they aren't very clear in their privacy policy, I think that they really aren't looking out for visitors' privacy on this website.